A few weeks ago, I was going through a very lonely period in my life. And so I sat down and I started to journal about it. And here's exactly what I wrote word for word. I wrote here, I crave connection. Someone you just feel like they know you. Someone just feel like they like you and they look forward to being around you. And I feel like I don't have that. I think I just feel lonely and I don't want to feel like that. And when I feel like this is when I mostly need to have someone with me. But then it's hard to have someone when you are feeling like this. So I was going through a lonely day or a lonely period, you could say, and it was just painful. And for some reason, I thought that I was like the only one who was dealing with that. But then surprisingly, a few days later, I'm talking to this famous person. And she said to me, last year I felt a bit lonely. And in my mind, I was like, what? Like, how do you, someone who is like so connected, feel lonely? Like, how? And then a few days later, another connected and famous friend of mine, he posted on his status, he said, I'm going to quote in his exact words. He said, could it be my destiny to be lonely? And I replied to him, I was like, wait, are you also feeling this? And it's funny how we have this. I met these famous people who were like pretty connected and pretty famous. But here they are going through some lonely chapters in their life. So clearly, you don't need to be like literally alone for you to feel lonely. You can be connected, you can have many friends, and yet you can still feel lonely. And if you are feeling like that right now, I'm going to give you the solution that hopefully is going to change that. It's what I've been using, it's what I've been doing, and I'm feeling way better than I did when I wrote those painful words a few weeks ago. It's funny how nowadays we have a lot of friends, like online or maybe even in person, and yet we are in a lonely epidemic. We have many people who are just feeling lonely. But why? We are so connected online. Well, it's because we are missing depth. And if you want to fix this lonely thing in your life, I want you to think of your friendships. Think of how you can create depth, not width. Let me give you an example. So, do you know these rivers? We have these, there are rivers which are like broad and they cover a large space, but they are very shallow. Like they don't that they're not that deep, but they're very wide. And if you are seeing them, you might think that this river will surely survive a drought. But then when we go through a drought, those rivers they always dry up because they're not deep. But then you have these rivers which are like so narrow, and then they are so deep that if we are going through a drought, like they're not going to go dry. Basically, why? Because they have depth. Same thing for you right now. Think of how you can create depth in your friendships instead of just creating width and being wide. So, how does that look like in real life? Well, it simply means stop trying to have many friends and many connections, and instead, you have few friends whom you can create depth with. People who just know you, people who trust you, and those are the friends that when you go through a hard period in your life, those friendships they will not dry up. Right? It's funny how you can see these people who have many friends, they have such a large width of friends. But if you talk to them, my friend, I can tell you they are miserable. A lot of them. Because their friendships are just narrow. But if you have a friend who is deep and you can talk to them about anything and they know you, they like you, it's very hard to feel lonely when you are like that. Now, what if you have friends right now whom you are not in that deep friendship with? Then it's simple, you just need to slowly distance yourself from them. As simple as that sounds. It's funny how a few years ago, when I was actually going through the most depressive period of my life, I was in a friend group, we were like 8, 10 guys, I don't remember, and we were like connected, you could say that, but we're always dissing each other, or to be specific, I was always being dissed. And so I was feeling depressed despite being in a very strong friend group. But then compare that to now, where I've been serious about this, and the amount of close friends that I have, I can count on one hand, and I feel way better. So right now, you might also be in a large friend group, but still you are feeling lonely. Or my friend, do not be afraid of just catching yourself away from them. It's going to be one of the best things that you can ever do in your life. I can guarantee you that. So the big takeaway from this video is this: stop trying to chase many friends. Just have a few friends whom you can have deep and intimate connections with, and yeah, you're going to feel way better if you do that. Hopefully this helps you, and I'll see you soon.
Hey, this girl is beautiful.
Sit
Yeah,
down,
I know. But I'm not.
get out.
I'm beautiful.